welcome to the Navigating Sisterhood podcast, where we unpack all things friendship. I'm Allison.
I'm Mia.
And we know adulting can make it really, really, really hard to stay connected. So we are here to help you navigate the sometimes challenging but always rewarding world of friendships. So share this with a friend and let's dive in. Hey girl.
Hey girl.
How you doing?
I'm doing amazing.
Yeah.
We have an announcement for the people.
Yes, we do have a really special announcement. If you didn't hear on the first one, but tell me what we're doing in November.
We're calling it the Big Tip Weekend.
Yes.
Okay, where we are asking all of us, actually, we're inviting you to come out and bless someone for this holiday season, to be honest. We're going to do it in Saturday, November 22nd, right?
Yep.
Where we're going to have dinner in Atlanta, Georgia. We're going to choose a Black-owned restaurant, and we are going to bless the waitress or waiter. We know that, times have been hard this year, and, getting ready for the holiday season with Christmas gifts and Thanksgiving, it can be a real hard time for people. So we want to extend our generosity to those. What would you add?
So the goal is for each person, of course, in addition to your meal and, whatever, we want each person to plan to tip $100. Mm-hmm. Do whatever you can, but we just want it to be significant, right? This isn't going to be our standard 20%. We want to go above and beyond, put it all together, and give it to our waiter or waitress to bless them and for them to have a memorable moment going into the holiday season. So if you do want to be a part and you want to join us, please sign up to our wait list, and we will make sure to give you all the updates on the exact location and the exact time. But just know that it's going to be a Black-owned restaurant in Atlanta on Saturday evening, November 22nd. So we hope you will join us on Big Tip Weekend.
Yes.
So in a recent episode, we were talking about navigating dating, and something came up that shifted into how we navigate being single friends with married friends. Mm-hmm. There's a post you sent me. I would love for you to elaborate on it. It was something about a woman talking about something. What? Mm-hmm. Tell them about the reel you saw.
Yeah. So there was a woman that talked about going to a restaurant or a bar. And as a married woman, she said she does not go to a bar with single friends because she doesn't want to embarrass her husband or his name. And so that just opened it up for conversation with Miss Allison. I'm just like, what do you think about that? We've had conversations because we've been the single women, and we've had some married friends who, feel a way if they want to come out with us or not, or how much do they hang out with us or not. And so we've had conversation over the years about it. And I just wanted to open it up here.
First, I want to get your thoughts on that exact reel and what she said about, embarrassing her man. What do you think about that?
I mean, first of all, I think it's extreme. And it's not connected. So just because you're at a bar with single friends is not an automatic shame on the man's name.
Or brand.
Or who he is or who you are. Because I'm like, well, what y'all doing at the bar? To shame yourself. But anyway, so my first thought is, I think that's just the premise of it is ridiculous, because there's this implication that because I'm at a bar with single women, that shames his name. So first off. But then second off, it just brings into a larger discussion on women, single women and married mm-hmm. women, and those friendships, and how you maintain those and how you show up for those. And if it really does feel like for the married women as if they can't hang out with the single friends, whether it be a bar or not. And so for me, I don't, of course, I'm being on the single side of it, and with that lens, I'm a safe space. And I don't see any problem with a married woman hanging out with a single friend, just in general, right? Now, if we're after hours and in the wee hours and doing all this stuff as single people do, not this single person, unfortunately, but as single people do, I get it to a degree. But just these blanket statements of like, not hanging with single friends, I totally disagree. And I have many married friends, and I think there's mutual benefit. How do I want to say that? Mutual benefits for both.
Yeah, I thought that the when I was watching it, I literally was getting tight in the chest. 'Cause I'm just like, this is ridiculous. It was the blanketed. Granted, it was a reel, so it's a clip
Yeah.
of however long a conversation was. I didn't watch the whole conversation or listen to it, but I remember thinking this is ridiculous. And there's just so many layers, and all of this is just a case by case situation because you could be out with other married women, or a man could be out with other married men who do not care about integrity, or don't have the
Yeah.
greatest character, or not, that they don't care about wearing their rings. So people maybe think, what I'm saying? It's like this is a person to person kind of thing, and if you are a safe person and a trustworthy person,
Yes.
none of this matters. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I understand that maybe like going to the bar can be seen as a date, like a thing that we're going to like try to be found by me. I get that, but also like as someone who loves to just dine out, this is not a big deal. Like sometimes I sit at the bar, sometimes I sit in a regular booth or whatever. Like, why is it that it's like we're at the bar with a single woman? That imagery is somehow embarrassing to your husband who not there. What? Nobody know you. Well, I don't know who this woman was. Maybe people do know her. I don't know. But it's just like, girl, ain't nobody checking for you in that way. It's not. It's just not that serious. It's not that serious. And
because where's your no? Right? I mean, you could be at the grocery store and a man approach you, because this is really what it's about, right? Another man approaching you and how you respond or react. So where's your no? Where's your voice? Like you are empowered
right
to decline any invitation that happens, or even with your friends after that. But I do want to go back to something you said about being safe, and because I think that's important when, especially for me, because when you are a true friend, you uphold the values. Like, I'm not going to let my friend do something reckless to her marriage. I'm not going to let my friend make an emotional decision. I'm not going to be the person to encourage craziness. Like, I'm going to be like, girl,
I'm not even the friend that's going to encourage you to leave when it gets rough.
no,
Girl, go back.
Not. Exactly.
Go and fix it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I'm not.
Figure it out.
Go figure it out. And that's not even me being like, pick me, like, girl, make sure you go say, keep that good man. That's a good, it's not even that energy. This is your marriage.
Unless there's harm.
Yes.
Figure it out.
Go figure it out.
Yeah.
Because I remember what you said about him when y'all were dating. I remember how many confirmations you received. I remember how happy you were to find someone who was aligned. I remember. And I'm going to remind you of that, and I go back and fix it.
And I know how the enemy hates marriage. And I know how the enemy wants to attack and divide and be divisive and break hearts and homes and families. And let's not even get into the Black family.
Yeah.
So, no, go back and fix it.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Yeah. And I've had... First, let me say this. I was raised in a way, in an environment where I was taught, married women don't got no business hanging around single women, ain't got no business having single friends, That's how I was raised. And I never had intention to be single this long. So I never imagined being on this side of it. But as a 30-something-year-old single woman, my entire adult life, I've been single. Yes, I'm navigating having friends who were already married when we met, or married going through divorce, or single getting married. I've experienced all of that. And to think that one of my single friends that I've been with when she was single and she's now married, to think that she now looks at me differently, or that I'm less valuable as a friend because I'm single, that is so hurtful.
Yeah.
That is so hurtful. And I'm grateful for the friends that I have, because those of my friends who have gotten married, they have not switched up on me.
Same.
And I'm so grateful for that, because again, I was taught the same thing. You can't trust them. And it's like, first of all, we didn't pray and fast for this man.
Listen, together. Cried together.
Right. So yeah, it's just really, really hurtful. And it's tough to talk about these things in such general terms, because what we're not saying is, what they're not, those kind of people aren't saying is, maybe there have been a few people, or they've heard of a story of someone being hurt by a single woman who, she didn't have allegiance or loyalty, and she was, messy or divisive or sneaky. Maybe that has been a situation. Those things do happen, but it has to happen in your life though. Are your friends that way? Or have they been sneaky in other areas? Have they shown you that their character is shaky in other areas? If so, check your friends in general.
Correct. Why do they have the label or the title?
Right. In general, like, this is,
yeah.
It's frustrating, because it just in general, single women have been pit as the enemy of relationship. And so much that there's so much wrong in that, because it's like, first of all, if I'm going to be that kind of woman, it takes two to tango. Okay. Somebody got to agree. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I can't, nobody can't steal, what God has for me. She didn't steal it.
She didn't
steal them. I mean,
what's yours?
You can't wreck no home you ain't have access to. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, she ain't, like, it's all this energy about the woman. It's just like, anyways, I'm getting on a tangent. So what I have come to learn is that this kind of this belief is oftentimes coming from a certain kind of woman. And I recently learned of this concept about the male-centered woman. And as I began reading up on it, I'm like, you know what? This makes so much sense. And it makes sense as to why male-centered women aren't the greatest friends. Because, so this is a little like, to explain the concept, a male-centered woman is a woman who prioritizes male perspectives, male needs, male approval, sometimes to the detriment of her own needs or other women's needs. And it's the idea that a woman's self-worth is her sense of self-worth, and decision making can be easily and heavily influenced by seeking validation from men. And it's like, well, dang, girl, like, it's rooted in something bigger. Have you experienced like male-centered women, and how has that impacted your friendship?
More so in my family than I have in my friendships. And I think mostly because, in a sense, you attract who you are. And I don't have a lot of male-centered friends. I wouldn't say, I can't think of off the top of my head, but within my family, baby. Okay. And I do think it does come from a lot of religious people too. I mean, I don't, shoot me now, but I've seen it too many times with that demographic per se. And I come from that. And so it could be things as simple as, I want to wear something and the man has something to say, and then she's like, well, if that's what he wants. And I'm like, but this is what I'm comfortable wearing, and it's like, or, what do they think about that? Or if that's what they said, then that's what you should do. As if I don't have a brain, as if I can't make my own decisions. And I'm talking dating context too. I'm like, nah, he don't even really have a say at this point. And so for me, it's impacted those relationships the most because those are the ones, the elders, in which you would anticipate would give you wisdom in dating. And I have found the exact opposite in my experience. And so it's been disheartening, I would say, because I think it's a way that it buries our voices and our desires and our likes as if it doesn't matter. And for you to hear that from someone who's supposed to be supporting you through anything, and then you kind of start thinking like, is that the way? And everything in you rises up and be like, but that ain't who I am. That's not gonna work for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've seen it more so in that context. What about you?
Same, girl, same. And as you were saying that, especially that religious piece, it just made my mind go. It's like this is it spirals because that's probably the root of it all. The idea that men are superior, men are more valuable. We are here. We are created for them, right? For their pleasure, for their purpose, for their needs. And that is entirely a whole other conversation that we may or may not have time for. But I do want to go back to that reel we were talking about, the woman who doesn't go to the bar with her single friend. Sis, why aren't you helping your single friend get booed up?
Okay.
Because if you got yours and she wants a partner and she desires that, why aren't you being wing woman? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
That's what all my married friends know.
Right. Listen, you get married, great. Enjoy that. Now, carve out a little. So now our friendship is going to be about you helping me find.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like each one reach one. Help me.
Help me. Help me.
Like what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? I remember being out. Granted, in this scenario, my friend was out. We were out together with her husband. It was two single women, and then my married friend with her husband. And our waiter, I think she thought he was flirting with me, and she went full on wing woman mode. She's like asking questions, and she was, not provoking, but she was encouraging him to talk to me more. Because again, she's like, "We're trying to get you booed up. Why is that not your energy? Like, am I not my sister's keeper?
Right.
So that for me is weird because I get it. You have your priorities, but your friend has hers as well. Why can't there be a meeting in a middle ground? This same friend I'm referring to, it was your birthday last year, and we went out to a club. We was just really hopping around the city, and we and her husband was with her for the majority of the night. And at some point, he was tapped out. He was tapped out, and instead of leaving with her husband, she decided to stay out with us. Yep. Of course, protocol. I'm sure she asked permission for those of you who want to know that kind of thing. But she stayed out with us. And I remember, because, we went out dancing, had a great time. And I remember thinking at a moment, like, man, she isn't dancing as much tonight. Like, she loves to dance. Why isn't she out here on the floor with us, And it wasn't until later on that it clicked. Oh, this is her boundary. This is how she does both.
I love that.
This is how she honors her friendships with us while also honoring her husband who left us to give us more girl time. He's like, y'all stay, y'all have fun. Mm-hmm. It's like, cool, I might dance a little bit. But for us, there were other men who came and dance with us. She would not dance with another man, And granted, these are very these are non-threatening, very, they ain't got no chance. You know what I'm saying? But even with them, it was just off limits, it was no. And it didn't click immediately because, again, I have a single woman's perspective. Mm-hmm. But I really appreciated how she not only carried herself, but how she still made time for us, how she still valued these friendships, right? Like, this matters too. Because
can we be honest? We are women. And so to really just be like, now I can't be friends with you. We have history. So we just throw the history away because now said person is in the picture as if you don't know me, as if as if I've changed and now all of a sudden no longer worthy is crazy.
Yeah.
And delusional.
Yeah.
Because the reality is, when you're really friends, we need each other. If we've established that friendship and that relationship, there are gonna be moments where you're gonna need to lean on your friends, your women friends.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I always would encourage any woman and to keep those friendships intact and keep those friendships strong and those bonds strong, because that's when you know also that it's not just about like the other thing, but this was really about us and developing a bond for us, because that's what true friendship should be.
And the truth is, let's be real. I don't mean to be negative. I'm just trying to paint this in a way that we understand where our priorities lie. If in the event something go wrong,
I know I was tiptoeing. Go ahead.
we here.
We here.
In the event, because the data say what it says.
Okay.
Okay. 1 and 2 married couples may end a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
When it hits the fan, who you gonna need? Who you gonna want to lean on?
Right.
It's much easier to rely on that support when you maintained it through your marriage. And we both have had friends to experience separation and divorce, you know? And thankfully, because we are safe people, they've been able to come to us and lean on us. And we're open arms because we never stopped. There was never, now granted, it's understood that priorities shift. It's understood that my married friends may not have as much capacity, because they have a whole husband. We understand that, right? So yes, things are going to change in regards to frequency and that type of thing. But as far as the value, right? The value of the friendship, that didn't change in their minds. Mm-hmm. And I think we have to just be real about that, because it is, in my opinion, disrespectful to hold friendship as like this placeholder.
Ooh. Because when you do that, you then don't really pull the benefits and the beauty of what true friendship really has to offer. If you just using it as a placeholder to spend time until you get a man to take your time, you missed the whole point.
You missed it.
You missed the whole point. You missed the whole point of the connection. But I do want to ask you then, how do you handle your married friends differently in that? So talk about that.
I do. Because now, I'm pretty liberal and I'm pretty evolved and progressive. Right. But it's a country Pentecostal girl on the inside of me, like honor that man, it's the man of the house. So yeah, it could be if I have my married friends over and I'm hosting them, I'm not going to walk around, like in just what I typically would, maybe that's a little shorts and I'm not going to be as exposed physically, I'm going to be a little bit more covered up, right? When my married friends are here, versus if it was just her, girl, bra off, whatever, titties hanging, I don't care. Maybe your husband should not, know all the things, see all the things. So I am, more particular in that way. And even, me reaching out to them, maybe I'm not reaching out as much, or maybe I'm a bit more lenient with response time, right? Like maybe I text you and you a while to text back. I'm not really tripping for real. Or, we don't talk as much. I'm not tripping for real, because I get it, because again, we honor and respect what they got going on. And the same with me when I go to their homes. I have a friend, I went to her house, and it was my first time in their house as a married couple, and again, there's this transition period. Like, so how do we, what's our flow? And I remember like my friend had left or something. She had left and it was just me and her husband there at the house. Because again, she trusts me. But I'm like, girl, this is against protocol. You're not supposed to do this.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like either he go with you or I go with you. You can't leave us here, alone. Because again, not that I'm a threat to your marriage. Not that he go. It's just like that Pentecostal little girl, that church girl in me is like, no.
Right. We don't even want it to appear.
Let not your good be evil spoken of, I stayed upstairs the whole time she was gone. He was downstairs. I stayed in the guest room. I'll be right here till she get back. Because that's just That's just how I was raised. Like,
Yeah.
I definitely want there to be a line of separation. Like, I never want my friends to feel like I'm a little bit too comfortable
Yeah.
with their husband. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
yeah, that's so big.
I don't want, because like you're my friend, and as much as they'll allow me in, cool, but I'm not gonna take that access for granted.
Yeah.
Because I don't, again, I don't even want the thought to ever eat. Like,
And even in that, I don't kiki too long. Like,
I ain't gonna be laughing too loud.
I ain't gonna be laughing too loud. I ain't laughing too long. We gonna, oh, that was a great conversation. We're gonna keep it moving, just out of respect.
Yeah.
And we don't need to be that cool, to be honest, because you're my friend. And I, yes, if there's, because I have a friend, like, her husband, he could talk about so many different subjects that we just like align on, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. Does she care? No. Do I care as the single friend? Yes. If we're out in a group and me and you just rocking and rolling, he's also an introvert, so it's like I'm comfortable with you, and so we'll just naturally talk. And we'll do that, but then at some point I'm like, all right, because again, like, out of respect and just knowing that I am a single person, and again, I'm a safe person, and that, to me, that's one of the reasons why I am, because I'm not trying to have people talking in the streets about nothing that ain't nothing going on.
Even text messages. So if there's a time where, like, now if they initiate the text, like say my friend's husband texts me something, maybe, I don't know, for whatever reason, that's fine. But if I'm initiating conversation with him and it's just I need to say something to him or ask him something, I'm putting her in thread.
Group text.
It's gonna be a group text. That's my standard.
Yeah, agreed.
They don't care.
Right.
But for me, and maybe I don't even say anything to her. Maybe it's like carbon copy. CC. You just hear just to make sure, because it ain't gonna never be like the phone that went off vibrator. Like, who is him? And this, it's just not happening.
Right.
It's not. So yeah, I'm very strict in that way in how I interact with, because again, I care. So if I am extending that, I certainly want to be valued as a safe person, because I ain't trying to come, you know what I mean? So let me ask you this then. Because again, we know what we stand for. We know what our values are. And most of our friends who are married do as well. But have you had friends that you struggled with regarding this? Like, have you had friends who maybe they weren't comfortable with you as a married woman being, around them or whatever?
Yeah. This is when I was much younger. So I would say, and I'm saying that to say, like, the way I choose friends have changed over time.
Okay.
But I did have friends, and this is actually in church. Like, so it was one of, the church friends. And I remember her rejecting me and or treating me different. And she actually said something. She's like, yeah, because you always cute. You always looking away, and you always, put together and stuff. And so she didn't want her husband around me. And she would like want if there was any time he would come to me, or there was, we're in church, we passed by each other. Next thing you know, here she is in the conversation within 2 minutes. And it's just like, girl, listen here. Let me tell you what I don't want ever is another woman's man. But just that energy and feeling that from some of the church women, because you're like this single, cute little thing that they felt like they needed to guard their husbands from, I was hurt, to be honest.
Yeah.
Especially being that young in the ministry and stuff. I'm just trying to serve the Lord and doing my thing. And there was a lot of that in that place.
This boils my blood, girl. Like this, it frustrates me to no end, because it's like, so I'm being punished.
Yes. For sure. That's what it was. That's what it was.
It's the projection. Because where is the accountability for your man? Why Why are you worried about what a single woman doing? If you need to have that much energy to guard, and
To be running
I
up
want to
in
be,
conversations.
I want to be careful, right? Because I recognize that like we have to be protective. You know what I mean? Like even as a girlfriend, I'm protective of, you know what I'm saying, like my relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like I be noticing things. You know what I'm saying? So I'm protective. I'm not saying that that's not okay, but that's a lot of energy
It's a lot of
to be
energy.
putting in a stranger, well, not a stranger, I'm sure she knew you, but like to be putting some and outside of your marriage, worry about why you need that much energy to protect.
That
Is
part.
he protecting the relationship just as much as you appear to be?
Right. Let me just be constructive here. If
Please, because
you
girl, I feel
feel
it.
if you, if you feel the need to do that, if that means you lack safety in your relationship, you lack security in your relationship, and you need to be examining that relationship. Not all the other things, those are distractions, and they will always be. But unless that thing is secure and strong, like you need to be spending time building that versus worried about other people and everything else. That's just what I want to say about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I've seen it too many times and it just speaks to insecurity than in you.
Yes.
And I don't know why it's there. Maybe he has cheated before. Maybe he does have a wandering eye. But that is not the woman's responsibility. That's not the single woman that he may be just passing by. That is not her fault, right? You're in covenant, in commitment, and in relationship with the husband. And that's where the accountability should start.
I saw there's the lady I follow on social media. Her name is like Shantae or something like that. She's such a cute girl, and her husband is a really, really handsome man. And they share a lot about their relationship. And she was saying that there was a woman who they were out and about, you know, together, but and wherever they were, her husband was like in the distance. And she overheard a woman, you know, say something like, "Oh, that's a, you know, that's a fine man over there," whatever, whatever like that, right? And some kind of way, you know, the lady learns, "Oh, you're his wife," and she says, "Yeah, you." Oh, no, and so the lady says something disrespectful, like, "You better go on over there before I take him," or something like that, something along those lines. Like, "Girl, you better go get him," because something like that, silly, just inappropriate. What she did, what the wife did was go try,
That part.
and the lady did.
Oh, what?
The lady went over and talked to him.
That's another level.
Because I do want to acknowledge that there are those women who are problematic. I do think it's important to acknowledge that there are problematic women out here who mean your relationship no good. That's a true thing. It shouldn't be your friends though, because this is a stranger,
Yes.
right? She goes over, says whatever to the man, and the wife Shantae says, "I just saw my husband just pointing to me, like."
That's mine right there.
Like gave her no energy, no time. I'm just like, and the lady comes back, it's like, "You was right," and she's like, "Of course."
She lucky she ain't get hit.
Now there's also that.
I mean,
But again, what we're saying is, it is the married person's responsibility to protect the marriage.
yes.
You know what I mean? Both of them together, not you all over here, my single business.
That's right. That's right.
Because I'm just here being cute, minding my business.
That's right.
And you mad.
Right. Talk about what you think. I know we mentioned the whole religious tie, and how have you seen that kind of play out, even just from a religious standpoint? So I really feel like back in the day, you know, we really got the help meet part thing wrong in what it meant, even as women, not just men saying what it means, but even as women and how we embodied that. But what do you?
It was, I think embodied is such a good word because that's exactly what I saw. It was like, it wasn't even just an example there. It was the embodiment of my purpose is to please this man.
Good grief.
Despite my own needs, desires, ambitions, dreams. Like, man, I remember my mom like posted I don't know if she posted a throwback picture or I found the picture and posted it. Regardless, I found an old picture my mom was found. She probably was in high school. Cute little red dress on, right? And I remember, I think I posted it because she commented and said, I made that dress. Like, I sewed it. Like, I made this dress, you know? And I was like, wait, what? Because she's always say, I used to sew. When I think about sewing, I'm thinking sewing a button. You know what I'm saying? My mom was like a seamstress. She would make her, when she was in high school, she said she made her own, she made either her prom dress or her sister's. Like, to that degree, you know? And it just hit me like, Mom, why was this not your path? Like, why didn't you go into fashion design, or why didn't you continue? Like, this is not just a random gift people have. Like, you out here making clothes, you know? Because it was cute, and it wasn't just a straight piece. It was like details, and you know what I mean? And I was like, why? And this is on Facebook in the comments, you know? And I'm like, well, why didn't you just continue this? And she said, I met your dad. I married your dad. And I was like, that's so sad.
Yeah.
Like
end of story kind of a thing?
Literally. Boop, over with. Got married. And literally his life, his whatever, that became the focus. You know, and it's just, again, it's the embodiment, it's everything, you know? And I'm like, man, that's, yeah. And again, it comes out in how we treat other women, you know? We end up, the environment that I was raised in, the women in my life, it was always, you know, like, if there was an issue in a relationship, I never heard about what the man did wrong. It was always, I don't trust that one over there. I don't trust that woman. Well, what happened? I don't trust around. But it was never like this man in our family, you know, such and such as husband was inappropriate, and they are together messing up what he has with, you know, whatever family member. It was always, I don't trust her. Don't be around. You know, I'm like, but again, that's where that conditioning came from initially. And at some point, I was just like, wait, but what about the man though?
Right. It's
misplaced. It's misplaced.
Responsibility.
It's misplaced. So yeah, I saw it in everything and everywhere. All the, you know, it's making sure you look decent, but it's not because you want to feel good, or you know, because you want to look presentable, or it's because, man, you know, it's even down to, you know, dress codes in churches, right? Growing up, you know, it was women's bodies were just heavily policed. I mean, even me growing up as an individual, I was heavily policed because I hit puberty like very, 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 very young. And I just even think about, as an adult looking back, I think my mom was trying to protect, or maybe I don't know what her intention was, but it was always like, you just can't wear that, or you can't do that, or do this because men. And I'm just like, what? Like, it was always about their perspective and about their discomfort, or like in church, you know. So when we would praise dance or liturgical dancing, so instead of like the leotard uniforms, they were the spandex, very tight. We wore choir robes and socks. We had to make sure that our feet were covered, because come to find out, they didn't want us to tempt men with potential foot fetishes, or they wanted to make sure we had something loose. And we had something loose on when we're dancing, because if we're dancing on the floor, you know, towards the people and the pulpit behind us, the men are looking at our backside. So to be very, very loose so that they could not see any silhouettes. And it was that kind of thing, right? You wear skirts, you wear loose clothing, you just don't do anything to tempt them in. the man. Again, it's just very male centered. It's all about them instead of placing accountability where it should be, which is why are we having men in leadership who do have these kinds of fetishes? Ooh. Why are we worried about one of the leaders in the church being tempted by one of these young girls dancing? That's the bigger problem.
That's the bigger problem.
Secondly, it's never said when it comes to like modesty and apparel. And let me add this. When the Bible talks about modesty, they weren't talking about clothes. They were talking about something else. So just let that be that. But secondly, we rarely hear when it comes to this policing, we rarely, and because I'm not trying to get into the modesty conversation at all. You feel how you want to feel. But if you're going to feel away, at least be consistent. We never hear about men's modesty in regards to how they dress, because we have to be subjected to men pushing to us with tight pants on. We can see they print. We can see all the things, right? we can see, oh, y'all been doing some good squats this week. Okay, all right. We see that sometimes the body be bodying and sometimes it don't be, but whatever it is, we see it. And somehow we are expected to be able to receive the word and not be bothered in our flesh. You know, I could see women flesh don't rise.
No. See, we don't have those.
We don't have those kind of urges. Desires. You know, we don't have those kind of needs and whatever. But for the man, though, we don't want to tempt them. What about us? Because, sir, I see what you packing or not. It's right there.
Oh, it's the or not.
But it's, you know what I'm saying? And that's never in the conversation. It's always about policing women because of the male, because of, again, it's all just being male centered.
And that's where the line is, right? It is like, sure, is there a place for modesty? Yes. Is there a place where you should be conservative? Sure. Argument can be made. But when the argument is solely based on what the man needs, that's where the issue is, right? That's where it's like, well, no, that's where we have to, you know, have a discussion, have a real discussion and or a real opinion about what it is that we need, what we desire as women versus what a man wants. Are you going to consider what your husband wants? Of course. Like that's not what we're talking about. It's really just saying overriding your feeling, overriding what your needs are and not expressing them at all for the sake of.
And that example about modesty in clothing, like I was saying earlier about how I am around my married friends, you know, I'm a bit more covered up even in my own home.
Yeah.
You know, I give that courtesy. I also expect that they would give me the courtesy, that they would, that my friend's husband would be walking around with in their house and mine with gray sweats and no shirt on. You know what I mean?
Or just their boxers.
Right. Yeah. I expect that same courtesy. I expect that this respect goes both ways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because again, it's just not all on me. While I respect it, I'm going to do my part. Let everybody do your part.
Everybody does.
Everybody does. Just do your part.
That's all we're saying.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, friend, I think it was good. What you think?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. That one got me a little.
Got a little hot, huh?
Ooh, wait,
got a little hot, got a little spicy, right?
My Lord,
but very, very necessary.
Certainly.
Very necessary.
So yeah, if you're married and you have single friends, maybe be more intentional and consider the ways you've shown up for them in this state while you've been married and they've been single, and if you've been sort of having some subconscious thoughts about them, maybe check that and reach out to them and be just as intentional about cultivating that relationship still, because friendships matter and we need each other.
We do need each other. And I would just say, have the conversation, right? Like if there is a way that she's showing up or not showing up, have that conversation so that, because as single friends, there is nothing I'm trying to do to make my married friends uncomfortable or them to feel unsafe in my presence. So have the conversation and remember that friendships nourish